You're sitting at your kitchen table on a Tuesday night with your laptop open, a calculator app on your phone, and a stack of papers spread out in front of you. Property tax bill, health insurance statement, daycare invoice, student loan payment confirmation. Your spouse is doing dishes in the background, and you're trying to figure out where the hell all the money goes. You make $110,000 combined, six figures. That used to mean something, right? That used to mean comfortable. So why does it feel like you're one car repair away from putting groceries on a credit card? You run the numbers again, then you run them a third time because they can't possibly be right, but they are. Before you've bought a single thing you actually want, before you've taken a vacation or saved for retirement or done anything except exist, like you've already given up over $33,000, and that's just the beginning. My name is Nick, and today we're going to follow a real middle-class family through a year of American taxation, and you're going to watch in real time as the math slowly suffocates them. Meet the Andersons. Sarah's a marketing manager making $62,000. Mike's in IT making $48,000. Combined household income of $110,000 puts them in the 66th percentile of American households. They have two kids, ages 4 and 7. They own a modest 3-bedroom house in a decent school district. They did everything right. They got the degrees, got the jobs, got married, bought the house. They're living the dream. Except they're not sleeping at night. It's January 2nd. Mike's looking at his first paycheck of the year. His gross pay for 2 weeks is $1,846. He's expecting about $1,500 to hit the checking account. Instead, he sees $1,383. He stares at the pay stub. Federal income tax took $147. Social Security grabbed $114. Medicare took another $27. State income tax pulled $85. Health insurance premium for the family yanked out $264. Before he's even seen the money, $528 disappeared. That's 28.6% gone before it reaches his account. And this happens every 2 weeks, 26 times per year. Sarah's paycheck tells the same story. Gross biweekly pay of $2,385 becomes $1,764 in her account. Federal tax takes $192. FICA grabs $182. State income tax pulls $110. Health insurance premiums cost her $264 too, because they're both on family plans through their employers and they picked the cheapest one. That's $748 gone per paycheck, 31.4% evaporated. Combined, they bring home about $81,822 per year after payroll taxes and health premiums. Not $110,000, not even close. But that's just the money you can see disappearing. That's just the taxes that show up on a pay stub. February 15th, property tax bill arrives, $4,300 for the year, due in 2 installments. Sarah opens the envelope at the kitchen table and just stares at it. That's $358 per month they need to set aside. Their mortgage payment is $2,100. Add the property tax, and they're at $2,458 per month just to keep the house. Now, that's 36% of their take-home pay before they've turned on a light or flushed a toilet. March rolls around and they're doing their taxes. They use TurboTax because hiring an accountant costs $400 and they're trying to save money. Mike's plugging in numbers and watching their federal tax bill calculate in real time. Like after the standard deduction, their gross federal tax comes to $8,943, but then TurboTax asks about the kids. 2 children under 17 means they qualify for the child tax credit. $2,000 per kid, $4,000 total. Mike watches the number drop to $4,943. They've been withholding $8,814 through payroll all year because back in January, they filled out their W-4s claiming zero dependents. They wanted more money in each paycheck instead of waiting for a refund, but HR messed it up and withheld at the standard rate anyway. So now they're getting a $3,871 refund. For about 45 seconds, Mike feels like they won something. like maybe things are turning around. Then he remembers the credit card balance from back in January when they had to put groceries on plastic because the heating bill was $340 that month. That balance has been sitting at $1,847. You have accruing 19.99% interest for 3 months. The refund could wipe it out completely, and they'd still have $2,024 left over. Sarah says they should do it. Mike agrees. They pay off the card. They move $1,500 into savings, bringing their emergency fund to a whopping $2,700. They use the remaining $524 to buy the kids new shoes and clothes because the 7-year-old has grown 3 inches and the 4-year-old keeps destroying pants. The refund is gone in 48 hours, marking state income tax, $4,500 for the year. They've already paid $4,720 through withholding, so they're getting another $220 back from the state. They use it to pay down the water bill that's 2 months behind. FICA for the year between both of them are $8,415 to Social Security and Medicare. That money's just gone, vanished into a system that might not even exist by the time they retire. They'll theoretically get some of it back in 40 years if Social Security hasn't been privatized, turned into a voucher program, or replaced with a motivational poster about personal responsibility. Mike's adding everything up. Federal income tax, $8,943. State tax, $4,500. FICA, $8,415. Property tax, $4,300. Health insurance premiums, $13,728 between both of their employers. That's $39,886 before they've lived a single day of their lives. He closes the laptop. Sarah asks him what's wrong. He says nothing, but he's just realized they've given up 36.3% of their gross income and they haven't bought food yet. April brings the daycare bill. Both kids are in full-time care because both parents work full-time. The 4-year-old costs $1,250 per month. The 7-year-old is in after-school care, $600 per month. That's $1,850 per month, $22,200 per year. Like Sarah does the math in her head while she's writing the check. They're now at $62,086 consumed by taxes and childcare. That's 56.4% of their gross income. Their take-home after everything is about $47,914 for a family of 4. That's $3,993 per month to cover mortgage, utilities, food, gas, car payments, student loans, and everything else humans need to survive. Here's where it gets really fun. The mortgage is $2,100. That leaves $1,893 for everything else. 2 car payments because they both have to commute, that's $650. Car insurance for 2 vehicles is $215. Gas costs them about $320 per month combined. Student loans because they needed those degrees to get the jobs that qualified them for this lifestyle. $485 per month. Utilities for a 3-bedroom house, electricity, water, gas, internet, phones, $425. Groceries for a family of 4, trying to eat reasonably healthy, $750 if they're really careful. Added up, they've got $48 left per month, $48 for clothing, for birthday presents, for the kids' friends, for the field trip permission slip that needs $25, for the car registration, that's $180 per year, for the fact that they'd maybe like to leave the house occasionally and pretend they have a life. And we haven't talked about the invisible taxes yet. Every time they pump gas, they're paying about 53 cents per gallon in federal and state gas taxes. That's $50 per month. Their cell phone bill has $28 in taxes and fees attached. Not $28 total, $28 just in taxes on top of the service cost. Vehicle registration is $200 per car per year, another $33 per month. Sales tax on everything they buy runs about 7.5%, costing them roughly $2,500 per year on $33,000 in taxable purchases. That's another $208 per month. So take that $48 surplus and subtract $319 in additional taxes and fees. They're $271 in the red every single month before anything unexpected happens, and something always happens. June, the air conditioning dies. It's 94 degrees and the repair quote is $3,800. They don't have $3,800. They have $1,200 in their savings account because that's all they've been able to scrape together. They finance the repair at 9.99% APR over 24 months. That's another $173 per month. August, their 7-year-old needs braces. The orthodontist wants $5,000. Insurance covers $1,500. They're financing the remaining $3,500 at $146 per month. For 2 years, Sarah cries in the car after the appointment. Not because of the braces, because she just realized they're now paying $319 per month for an air conditioner and teeth, and they still don't have an emergency fund. September. Mike's car needs new tires. All 4 are bald and it's not safe. That's $720. It goes on the credit card because there's nowhere else for it to go. They'll pay the minimum for a while and figure it out later. Later never comes. This is the life of a household earning $110,000 per year. They're not irresponsible. They're not buying jet skis. They're not taking European vacations. They're trying to keep their kids alive and their house from falling apart, and they're losing. October brings another fun surprise. Sarah's car starts making a noise, not a loud noise, just a concerning hum that gets worse on the highway. She takes it to the mechanic hoping it's something small. It's not small. The transmission is failing. The quote is $4,200 to rebuild it or $6,800 for a new one. The car is worth maybe $8,000. They can't afford to fix it, and they can't afford not to fix it because Sarah needs it to get to work. They take out a personal loan at 11.5% APR for $4,500 to cover the transmission rebuild, plus the deductible they still owe from Mike's tires earlier. That's another $142 per month for the next 3 years. Now they're paying $173 for the air conditioner, $146 for braces, and $142 for a transmission. That's $461 per month in debt payments for things that broke. Not things they wanted, things that broke. And this is considered normal. This is what middle-class life looks like in America. You're not building wealth. You're not getting ahead. Like you're playing financial whack-a-mole, where every time you think you've got things under control, something else breaks and you're right back in the hole. Mike's mom calls in November. She's 67, still working part-time because her Social Security doesn't cover her expenses, and she needs help with a $1,200 medical bill that insurance denied. Mike and Sarah look at each other across the kitchen table. They don't have $1,200. They barely have $900 in savings. But she's his mom. They put it on the credit card. The balance is now $3,840. The minimum payment is $116 per month, and at 19.99% APR, they're basically just paying interest forever. Now let's talk about why this is happening, because it didn't used to be this way. In the 1950s, corporations funded roughly 28 to 33% of all federal government revenue. Today, corporations fund about 9%. Like someone had to make up that difference, that someone was the Andersons. The corporate tax rate used to be 52%. After the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, it dropped to 21%. But the effective rate, what corporations actually pay after their armies of accountants work through every loophole, averaged 14.1% between 2018 and 2022. 23 Fortune 500 companies, including Nike and FedEx, paid zero federal income tax for 5 straight years, despite being profitable every single year. In 2020, 55 profitable corporations paid nothing on $79 billion in profits. If they'd paid the statutory rate, they'd have owed $16.4 billion. Instead, they got $4.3 billion in refunds. The government paid them. Meanwhile, payroll taxes went from funding less than 15% of federal revenue in the 1950s to 33% today. Hey, the combined Social Security and Medicare rate increased 59% since 1970, while corporate rates dropped 60%. It's almost like someone planned it that way. And here's the beautiful scam built into FACA. Social Security tax only applies to the first $176,100 in wages. So Mike and Sarah pay 6.2% on every dollar they earn. Someone making $500,000 pays 6.2% on the first $176,100 and then zero on the remaining $323,900. Their effective rate drops to 2.2%. The Andersons pay nearly 3 times the rate as a percentage of income compared to someone making $500,000. Capital gains, which is how wealthy people actually make their money, face a maximum rate of 23.8% and pay zero payroll tax. So if you work for your money, like Mike and Sarah, you pay income tax plus FICA. If you make money from investments, you pay less and no FICA. And 75.4% of all capital gains go to the top 1%. This isn't a tax system. It's a machine designed to extract maximum value from people who work for a living. But here's what really makes this whole thing psychotic. The US tax to GDP ratio is 25.6%, nearly 9 points below the OECD average. Politicians love citing this as proof that Americans are lightly taxed. But other developed nations bundle healthcare, childcare, education, and parental leave into taxes and provide them as services. Americans pay for all of that separately at prices that make no sense. Remember the Andersons paying $13,728 in health insurance premiums, plus thousands more in out-of-pocket costs? The average family premium hit $26,993 in 2025. That's more than the federal poverty line. The United States spends $14,885 per person on healthcare, more than double what comparable nations spend, and we get worse outcomes. Lower life expectancy, higher infant mortality. We pay twice as much for worse results. Their childcare costs $22,200 per year, consuming 20% of their income. In Germany, childcare costs 1% of income. In Sweden, 5%. In several European countries, it's free. College tuition averages $11,950 per year at public universities and has increased 148% since 1980. In Germany, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, and Finland, it's zero. Let's add up what the Andersons actually pay. Taxes take $26,158 in income and payroll taxes. Health insurance costs $13,728. Childcare costs $22,200. That's $62,086 before they've lived their lives. 56.4% of gross income. A German family earning the equivalent pays about 48% in taxes and contributions, and they get universal health care, like virtually free childcare, free university, 30 days paid vacation, 14 weeks fully paid parental leave, and unlimited sick days. The Andersons get nothing except the privilege of still needing to figure out how to save for college. Again, who benefits from this arrangement? The top 1% now holds 30.8% of all wealth. That's $49.2 trillion. The bottom 50% holds 2.8%. CEO pay grew 1,094% since 1978. Worker pay grew 26%. The CEO to worker ratio exploded from 21:1 to 281:1. ProPublica found that the 25 wealthiest Americans paid a true tax rate of 3.4% on their wealth gains between 2014 and 2018. Warren Buffett paid 0.1%. Jeff Bezos paid zero federal income tax in 2007 and 2011. Elon Musk paid zero in 2018. This is legal. This is the system working as designed. S&P 500 companies spent $1.6 trillion on stock buybacks and dividends in 2024. That's triple the total income of the poorest 27 million U.S. households. They're not using tax cuts to invest or create jobs. They're inflating stock prices for shareholders, 75% of whom are in the top 1%. Here's what this looks like in the real world for families like the Andersons. The median household has $87,000 saved for retirement total. Workers under 35 have $5,400. Nearly half of middle-class workers expect to work past 65. 15% don't plan to retire at all. Student debt pushed the median first-time homebuyer age to 40, up from 29 in 1980. Gen Z's homeownership rate is just 26%. Housing costs consumed 2.9 times median income in 1980. Today it's 5.0 times. The American dream isn't deferred anymore. It's mathematically impossible. The fossil fuel industry spent $137 million lobbying Congress to protect $17 to $35 billion in annual subsidies. That's a 12,300% return. Total federal tax expenditures cost $1.8 trillion per year, more than Social Security, more than defense. Most of it flows to corporations and the wealthy. It's December now. The Andersons are back at that kitchen table. They've survived the year, barely. They're still paying off the air conditioner and the braces. The credit card balance from the tires is still sitting there, accruing interest. Their savings account has $943 in it. Mike got a 3% raise at work. That's an extra $1,440 per year, $120 per month. Sarah's employer announced that health insurance premiums are increasing 6% next year. That's an extra $824 per year, $69 per month. Mike's raise nets them $51 per month after the premium increase. Daycare is going up $75 per month because of course it is. They're going backwards. They make more than 2/3 of American households and they're going backwards. And here's what you need to understand. The Andersons aren't failing at personal finance. The system is designed to extract maximum value from their labor while providing minimal return. They can't budget their way out of this. They can't skip enough lattes or cancel enough streaming services. The math doesn't work. It can't work. It was never supposed to work for them. The middle class isn't being taxed more overall. Total burden has stayed near 31% since 1980. But the composition changed. Corporations dropped from funding 1/3 of federal revenue to less than 1/10. The wealthiest Americans now exploit a parallel tax code built on capital gains preferences. The gap was filled by payroll taxes that fall hardest on wage earners, and the costs that taxes should cover, healthcare, education, childcare, were privatized and inflated until total mandatory spending rivals high-tax European countries, except those countries actually provide services. The Andersons take home $81,822 after payroll taxes and health premiums. Then they face childcare consuming another $22,200. They're left with $59,622 for mortgage, food, cars, student loans, and everything else a family of four needs. Meanwhile, billionaires pay 3.4%, corporations spend 3 times more on buybacks than taxes, and someone's getting rich off this arrangement. It's just not Mike and Sarah. The math isn't broken, it's working exactly as intended. And the system was deliberately engineered to look fair on paper while quietly bleeding families like the Andersons dry. And until enough people understand that this isn't about making better individual choices, that it's about a structural system rigged against wage earners, nothing will change. So the next time someone tells you that you just need to budget better or work harder, show them Mike and Sarah's year. Show them that corporations went from 28% of federal revenue to 9%. Show them that billionaires pay 3.4%, while the Andersons pay 56% when you count everything. The problem isn't them. The problem isn't you. The problem is a machine designed to extract everything it can from people who work for a living, while the people who own things pay almost nothing. And it's running exactly the way it was built to run.